This past weekend, two things happened that the whole world should be talking about together, and almost nobody is. 4 American astronauts splashed down in the Pacific Ocean after flying around the moon, and the US Vice President flew to Pakistan to negotiate an end to a war in the Middle East that nobody saw coming 6 weeks ago, all in the same day. And here's what nobody is connecting. These two stories are not separate. They are the same story. And once I show you how, you'll never look at either one the same way again. Let's talk about Iran, because the speed of this thing should genuinely shock you. On February 28, 2026, while the US and Iran were still at the negotiating table, the US and Israel launched surprise airstrikes, killing Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and dozens of Iranian officials. They were mid-negotiation. The missiles were already in the air. In just 12 hours, nearly 900 strikes hit Iranian military infrastructure, air defenses, and leadership. Iran hit back. They launched ballistic missiles at US bases across Bahrain, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. And then they did something that affects every single person watching this video. They closed the Strait of Hormuz. That is not a Middle East problem. That is your gas bill problem, your grocery bill problem, your portfolio problem. The strait carries roughly a fifth of the world's oil and natural gas supply. When it closes, the whole world feels it. Fast forward to this weekend, a Pakistan-brokered ceasefire had paused the fighting, but it didn't hold. J.D. Vance flew to Islamabad for high-stakes talks. Trump had warned he'd intensify strikes if a deal wasn't reached, and Pakistan's prime minister called it a, quote, make-or-break moment. And he was right. It broke. But that's for the war. Now let's go to space. While missiles were flying, something else was happening, and it got completely buried in the news cycle. On April 1st, 2026, NASA launched 4 astronauts on the Artemis II mission, the first humans to travel to the vicinity of the moon in over 50 years. During the mission, the crew witnessed a total solar eclipse, visible only from their spacecraft, not from Earth. Astronaut Victor Glover said they'd seen all the simulations, but when it actually happened, it blew them all away. Astronaut Jeremy Hansen revealed mid-mission that the crew had quietly named the lunar crater Carol after Commander Reed Wiseman's wife, who passed away from cancer in 2020. Crewmates were seen wiping away tears. Wiseman called it the most profound moment of the entire mission. These 4 people, 250,000 miles from Earth, naming craters after people they loved, watching eclipses no human had ever seen, while down here, we were watching missile strikes on the news. And the same night, as those peace talks begin in Pakistan, the Artemis II crew splashes down off the coast of San Diego, completing a nearly 700,000-mile journey. Same day. Now, what's the actual link? The Strait of Hormuz closure, the oil spike, the trade disruption, all of it together is quietly accelerating something most people haven't processed yet. The world is being forced, faster than anyone planned, to de-risk from Middle Eastern energy. And what does that mean at a civilization level? It means the moon. NASA's Artemis program isn't just flags and footprints. The goal is a permanent lunar presence. And the moon holds water ice at its poles that can be converted into rocket propellant, making it a literal refueling station for deep space missions. The nations racing to get there, the US, China, they all understand that the lunar South Pole is strategically significant in ways that go way beyond science. This is what you need to remember. Every time the Strait of Hormuz closes, the argument for alternative energy sources and space infrastructure gets stronger. Every disrupted shipping lane quietly writes a bigger check to the next generation of space investment. The war in Iran and the race to the moon aren't parallel stories. One is making the other more urgent. Now, what does this mean for you? Well, there's 3 things to be thinking about right now. 1. Energy exposure. The Strait of Hormuz carries a fifth of global oil supply. Now that the Pakistan talks have failed, we could see another spike. If you have zero energy exposure in your portfolio, you're not hedged for a world where the Middle East stays volatile. So it's worth taking a look at domestic energy producers and energy ETFs. 2. The space economy. Artemis II splashing down over the weekend is a proof of concept. It clears the path toward Artemis III, an actual moon landing, and eventually, commercial lunar operations. The companies building this infrastructure are early in a very long growth curve. This isn't hype. This is a decade-long thesis that just got its biggest validation in 50 years. 3. Commodities. A closed or disrupted strait means delayed exports, rerouted tankers, and higher fertilizer costs globally. Food price pressure doesn't disappear overnight. If your portfolio has no hard asset exposure, commodities, agriculture, materials, now is a reasonable time to revisit. Now here's what I want you to take away. On the same day 4 humans come home from the moon, diplomats are trying to stop a war that could reshape the global energy order for the next decade. Now, the old world was about oil, choke points, proxy wars, and it's being fought over right now. But the new world is space, lunar infrastructure, clean energy. And it just splashed down in the Pacific Saturday night. Your job as someone who cares about their financial future is to understand both, position for both. That's aceonomics. Subscribe if you want to keep seeing the connections everybody else misses. I'll see you in the next one.